No.
Wait,
No.
that was a pause.
Well, I'd like to be president.
Okay.
Well, she's tried before, and now there are rumors that she may make a third run's a charm. But what do actual voters think? In an exclusive for the Ingram Angle, Frank Luntz conducted a focus group of New Hampshire voters and asked them if they had the stomach for another Hillary run. Their answers, well, they were quite revealing. Here's the exclusive footage.
How many of you, by show of hands, and I want you to shoot them up, how many of you want Hillary Clinton to run for president in 2020? Go. Why not?
Been there, done that. Hillary's day is done. Hillary was the most qualified person that ever ran for president, but the least electable candidate that ever ran for president. And although she will always have those credentials, she is not well liked, and she's not popular enough to be able to get the voters to vote for her.
Yeah,
just don't want the same old thing, you know? I mean...
The same old thing.
Yeah, the
Isn't that
same
kind of
old thing.
insulting?
Well, I don't mean old as she is old. I mean the same old thing, meaning we already had a Clinton in there. We don't need another Clinton in there. We need somebody that's going to change.
I think the Democrats really need to do some research and coming up with some other candidates. I mean, Hillary's name comes up a lot, and she's got the experience and so forth, but just as you were saying, you know, that's in the past. The Democrats really do. They have to find some other candidates that can win the election.
she's been rejected twice now by the electorate, and I just think that if she runs again, there's not much of a chance. I think it would be a waste if she ran again.
The third time's not going to be a charm for her. She's been rejected.
Even though she's a female, you know, you can't run because you're female or black or whatever. She's old. She's old news, I should say, not old.
She gave us Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
She was the only person that could lose to Donald Trump. I mean, that Donald Trump
You
could...
guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't either.
I think anybody would have lost to Donald Trump because of, he said what a lot of people wanted to hear, unfortunately.
Well, joining me now is the man you just saw lead that discussion, pollster Frank Luntz. So, Frank, you're a professional pollster. What would you advise Hillary after hearing those answers?
To write another book, go do more speeches, but she'll be embarrassed if she does it. And if I was close to her as Mark Penn, who's coming on the show, I would simply tell her, no, you had a shot, you had a good shot, but the time has passed.
You know, I like the one woman, see, I was in school in New Hampshire for a while. I love the woman who says, third time's not a charm. She has the New Hampshire accent. And the other one says, well, she gave us Donald Trump. I think where they might get it wrong is where they say she's the only person who could have lost to Trump. And then the wisdom at the end, the woman said, no, I think, you know, he was saying what people wanted to hear. And she said, unfortunately. But it's interesting to hear that group of people. Was there anyone else that did?
Yes, to my surprise. They complained that she was old, and they didn't really mean her age, but they did a little bit. What they really want is someone who they think who can beat Trump, and they picked Joe Biden.
All right, so they didn't like Hillary, so who did they like? In part two, we do get some of the folks on what they say and who might have the right stuff to take on President Trump, as Frank just said, so let's watch.
If the Democrats don't come up with somebody that non-politician...
Who?
Somebody...
Hillary is oatmeal, and the Democratic Party, it may be good for you and it may say all the right things, but the Democratic Party needs somebody with some charisma and some pizzazz, like the gentleman from Texas,
Beto O'Rourke.
Beto O'Rourke.
You think he's good?
I think he seems to be able to maybe ignite the party again, which was something that President Obama could do.
Bloomberg.
Why Bloomberg?
Well, he was mayor.
Oh?
Well, I think he could take on Trump. He has talked about becoming a Democrat now. I think he's actually represented all parties. He knows that, you know, he's got to go to the Democratic side if he really seriously wants to run. His business background, he's very outspoken.
Joe Biden with run for president with a young vice presidential candidate that can go hand in hand with him.
Wait a second. Joe Biden. The other one was saying Hillary was old. Isn't Joe older than Hillary, or it's because he rides Amtrak that makes him more of an interesting candidate?
Well, I'm told that Amtrak created the quiet car because of Joe Biden.
Oh, my goodness.
It's interesting that they're naming people who've been around for a while, but they reject Hillary Clinton. And a lot of those people there, because they're independents and they can vote in the Democratic primary, half of them don't want someone who can beat Donald Trump. Half of them still want Trump as their president. So the battle in New Hampshire isn't just on the left and on the right. If you capture the center, it's 20%. It's additional votes that you can't get in other state primaries.
No, to me, the hilarious thing is when people are saying, well, that guy in Texas, he has charisma, you know, that guy. I'm like, well, Beto. But it's like the name. I think Beto, O'Rourke, Barack Obama, same this, but, you know, the names are the same. And charisma, people looking for charisma because they know Trump had it.
And they're supposed to, but these are supposed to be the most educated voters. They're supposed to be the most informed. And what is clear that they're now choosing people not based on policy, but based on personality. And that's changed.
And Trump's personality, contrary to the Jim Acostas of the world, people like that kind of rough and tumble thing. You know, he was our bully, a lot of people thought, right?
But that's the point. It has to be for them. If it's just for Donald Trump, he'll fall short. But if he's fighting for me, if he's fighting for us, then he'll be successful.
So if you could advise Trump tonight, keep the focus on America away from your personal squabbles.
And I'd also be saying I'm your voice. Not only do I hear you, not only am I listening, I'm your voice in Washington.
The forgotten people, that line from his inaugural and from the convention speech, that really drove it home. Frank, love this. Thank you so much for doing it. And much to the glee of the Trump world, a former Clinton advisor recently wrote an op-ed saying that Hillary will, in fact, be the Democratic nominee. Mark Penn is here to react to the focus group you just saw. Next. Who's your dream person to run against in 2020? You've already raised $100 million. Dream candidate to run against.
Well, so far, I like them all. I don't see anybody.
Hillary's not. Apparently, she's not down and out.
I like her too. I'd be very happy with Hillary.